I have heard not very good things about this video, but I want to watch for myself. I haven't watched it yet. It's called I Solved FNAF's Biggest Mystery, and it's by FNAF. And I like reacting to FNAF's videos because they're pretty interesting. They're not always good, they're not always bad. I think the theories are pretty good, but I've heard really bad things about this one, so I'll probably disagree, given what I have heard. But I'm gonna go in with an open mind. I'll see what he does say about it. I'm pretty sure it's about Midnight Motorist because I saw it in the thumbnail, and I saw some people talking about it. But I haven't seen it yet, so I want to see what it's about. So let's go. All right, I Solved FNAF's Biggest Mystery by FNAF. Let's go.
I think we can all agree that one of the biggest and most unsolved parts of the Five Nights at Freddy's games is Midnight Motorist.
I'm gonna pause already. I don't really think it is that like mysterious. I've made a video on it a while ago, and it's actually called Midnight Motorist is not that confusing because it's not really, like, if you look at it from, like, based on most of the evidence, it's pretty obvious that it's the Aftons. And there's not really anything else that it can be outside the window because Afton wouldn't kill his own son and then be mad that his son is gone. So unless you're to say, oh, Glitchtrap possessed William. You guys remember that theory? That was a funny theory. But I don't really think it's that confusing because I feel like there's like one really good explanation for it, and that is Shadow Freddy. The only flaw with that is that Shadow Freddy, that some people believe that Shadow Freddy would have been created from William's murders, but it doesn't necessarily have to be. It could just be from, you know, it could just be from, like, his anger after, I don't know, his wife's death or something, if his wife died or is divorced, whatever, his anger in that, you know? So it's very possible it's that, or since this is right after he killed Charlotte, it could have just been created by him killing Charlotte. Sorry, I'm talking. It's only 6 minutes in. 6 seconds in. I should probably watch the video. So yeah, just wanted to give my 2 cents on Midnight Motorist. I don't know what he's gonna say yet, but so yeah, let's see.
Specifically, the end of Midnight Motorist.
The footprints?
Where we see a kid who got lured out of his bedroom and into the woods by an animatronic. Who was the kid? What animatronic do these footprints belong to? Well, over 5 years later, I think I might have figured it out. And the theory I have today could change how you think about every major event that happened in this series. Please remember that these are just theories. And without further ado, strap in because this is going to be a wild ride. I want to get this out of the way first.
All right.
I believe Midnight Motorist is showing us what happened after William Afton killed Charlie. Why do I think this? The minigame is,
I think that's pretty obvious.
Later that night in the game,
and it's both, and it's
Orange
raining
guy is
and
driving
night
a purple
in
car,
and
just
nighttime
like
in
Purple
both.
Guy,
Exactly.
And the rain animation is the same as the minigame where Charlie got killed.
Exactly.
The opening sequence of FNAF 6 also shows us someone wearing all orange, all purple, and all purple with an orange tie, indicating to me that they're interchangeable. But the one thing that intrigues me the most about this minigame isn't the orange guy or what happens before that, it's the unmarked pile of dirt in the clearing. That mound of dirt has always bothered me. Why create a secret pathway to an area that just has a mound of dirt on it? Well, if you're a hardcore fan of FNAF,
I think Afton just, like, buried his wife there, or it could be the entrance to Circus Baby's Entertainment and Rental. The problem is I don't think that would have existed yet, although that might be what I'm pretty sure that's going to be what he's going to talk about. I'm going to move my camera up a little bit so you can see the top of my head. The top of my head is very important. Also, guys, this morning I woke up, there's a spider next to me, next to my bed, and I went to get toilet paper. I still have it here. I went to get toilet paper to kill it, and then it went like behind my bed, and I don't know where it is. So
now you'll know that this isn't
just
the first
random.
Time seen
I don't know. I just want to say that.
Dirt in this franchise.
Twisted
in
Ones,
the
probably.
Twisted Ones
Yeah.
Novel, the Twisted Animatronics are known for burying themselves during the day, so they can come out at night and capture kids, which could line up with what we see in the minigame. The Twisted Animatronic climbs out of the ground, goes to the house, lures the child out of his room, and abducts him. But there's one big problem with that. The Twisted Animatronics don't show up in the games. Before I scrap the idea,
I think he's gonna say this is the Funtimes, yeah.
What its interpretation was of the
Oh god,
of dirt in the clearing,
the ultimate
and to my
guide.
surprise, the book was thinking the exact same thing as me. Quote, other theories
You're not
have
the first
popped up
person to
around
say
the
this.
secret grave in the clearing,
Yeah.
with many fans linking it to the Twisted Ones novel, who would bury themselves to hide during the day. The fact that Scott put this theory in the book made me think that I wasn't as far off as I thought. The character encyclopedia even calls out
Okay, I'm
the
gonna
specific
move this back down
event
a
from
little
that
bit.
book. Quote,
All right.
Twisted Freddy is uncovered buried in a backyard. He kidnaps Charlotte Emily from her childhood home, which has been destroyed by a tornado. So then I got to thinking, if a Twisted animatronic is responsible for the ending of Midnight Motorist, what animatronics are the in-game versions of the Twisted animatronics? Well, the Twisted animatronics are known for using
The
illusion
Glamrocks.
discs and capturing kids in their stomach hatches. So what is the one animatronic that we think has an...
Actually, they're made to capture Charlotte and bring her to Afton. That's actually what they're not made to kill kids. They actually don't kill kids. They kill adults that look like Charlie.
illusion disc on his chest, and
Except
that
like one
is
guy.
capturing kids in their stomach hatch. Funtime Freddy. There's
Oh,
no
God.
way that Funtime Freddy was the one that captured and killed the crying child. Right? At this point, I know there's
Bruh,
people
what?
screaming at their screens right now saying, it doesn't matter who killed the crying child, how could the crying child die twice since we see him die in FNAF 4? And also, there's no way that a random character like Funtime Freddy was the one that captured and killed the crying child, right? Well, I
Funtime
decided to
Freddy's
look
feet
into
don't
it a
even
little bit
match
more
those
just for fun.
footprints, though.
And, hang on to your seats.
Oh, God.
Something that I tried to do when researching this theory is understand the context of when this game came out and what we knew at the time. Sister Location was released in October 2016, the Twisted Ones was released after that in June 2017, and FNAF
And
6
then
was
December
released after
2017.
that in December 2017. I can only assume that the story for the Twisted Ones was being developed simultaneously with the release of Sister Location. So in that context, everything checks out. So what about the context of what we see in the games, especially of Funtime Freddy? Well, let's first look at his blueprints. In Sister Location, we were given blueprints for the 4 main animatronics: Baby, Ballora, Funtime Foxy, and Funtime Freddy. This is something that Scott has never put in a game before, so there had to be a reason for it. But for the most part, nothing really stands out, except for Funtime Freddy's and
It's
Baby's.
just trying to
In
say that they
Funtime
kill.
Freddy's and
They're made
Baby's
to kill
blueprints,
kids.
you
That's
can
pretty
see
much
a
it.
kid captured in their stomach tank. But this isn't something new. Obviously, we see Baby capture and kill Elizabeth in her 8-bit minigame. But Funtime Freddy...
Those are also blueprints. They're made to kill kids, yes, and they're made to do this. But this is just a blueprint. This isn't like a scan of it. It's blueprints of how they're going to be created. It's trying to show that's what they're meant to do. It's not saying that they've already done that.
Freddy having a kid captured inside his stomach is interesting. This never really pays off because we never get to see him capture a kid. Or do we? One of the main features...
The Funtimes are made, the Funtimes are made to kill kids, and then after Elizabeth dies, they're shoved down there, and then after FNAF 1, they're used for private parties and stuff, right? So it's entirely possible that Funtime Freddy and the other Funtimes could have just killed kids at the private parties. And also, like I said, this isn't an actual kid that already has died. It's trying to show that that's what they're meant to do. So yeah, that's a little bit of an issue with, that's a little bit of a hole with the theory, I guess. But
of Funtime Freddy found in the blueprints that is only listed on his is voice mimic / luring. What if Funtime Freddy was the one who lured the crying child out of his room in Midnight Motorist?
Again, the
More
feet
proof,
don't actually
another
match.
thing I decided to look into was Funtime Freddy's voice lines, since characters' voice lines have been pivotal over the years. for
Birthday
figuring
boy,
out
he's gonna
what's
say.
going on. So let me play a few of Funtime Freddy's from Sister Location.
Knock, knock. Anybody home? Oh, birthday boy.
He says, "Oh, birthday boy, knock knock, anybody home?"
okay, anybody home, that's kind of fair. Birthday boy, not really, because as I just said, the Funtimes are, they go to private birthday parties, you know? They go to birthday parties for kids to celebrate and stuff. Birthday parties. So yeah, birthday boy, that checks out. And also, he's trying to say that the bite victim died at Midnight Motorist by Funtime Freddy, I think. But that's the thing. How? Because the bite victim died at his birthday. So he's gonna say he revived or something like that. But the bite victim died at his birthday. So that means that Midnight Motorist is not his birthday. Meaning that he wouldn't be calling him birthday boy because it's not his birthday.
When have we ever had another birthday boy in this franchise that isn't the crying child?
Gabriel.
The crying child is literally known in the
And the
franchise
private
for
parties.
being the birthday boy. At this point, I was losing my mind. Funtime Freddy is known for luring kids and capturing them. We see a kid literally inside his stomach tank in his blueprint.
I will say, although I already don't think that this theory makes any sense, I do enjoy these theories because I like how he looks a lot deeper into things than a lot of people do, which I think it's like the problem with being like a higher up status theorist is that you don't have that many conversations with as many people who look into more stuff, because there's so many more people in the FNAF community than just you. Like MatPat, his theories are pretty good usually, or sometimes. But since he has such a high status in the community, he doesn't really talk to all the other members of the community, all the other theorists and stuff. So he doesn't really know all of the smaller details. Like, he knows some smaller details, but he doesn't know details like, I can't think of any off the top of my head. But, like, there's some small details that he doesn't really think about. Like, I don't think he knows about the order that the children were killed, which is shown in Security Breach and Pizza Party and stuff like that. It's, like, smaller details like that he doesn't really pay attention to because nobody is there to, like, show him that. Like, he has some other theorists that work with him, yeah, but, like, not that many, and not all of them can find everything. But FNAF, he actually looks into a lot of really cool stuff, and I really appreciate that about his videos, even though some of his theories aren't that good, and I don't agree with this already, but I do appreciate that.
Voice lines seem to directly coincide with what I was losing.
Rewind.
Funtime Freddy is known for luring kids and capturing them. We see a kid literally inside his stomach tank in his blueprint, and his voice lines seem to directly coincide with what we see in Midnight Motorist. So if you have any knowledge of the FNAF lore, you'll know that there's still one big problem. How does it connect with what we see in FNAF 4? Why do I think the crying child was the one that was taken? Well, let me explain. The story in the 8-bit minigames in FNAF 4 seems to leave out some important information about what happened beforehand. We first see the crying child crying in his bedroom, surrounded by plushies of the whole Freddy Fazbear gang. This tells me that he's a fan of the characters, or at least he used to be. We learn in FNAF 4 the reason why he's now scared of the characters at the pizzeria. No, don't you remember what you saw? The exit is the other way. Hurry and leave. It's too late. Hurry the other way and find someone who will help. You know what will happen if he catches you. This implies, at least to me, that the crying child saw someone get caught at the pizzeria and something bad happened to them. But what if I threw out the idea that he didn't see something happen to someone else, he saw himself get killed at the hands of what he thought was Fredbear?
That's not seeing something. That's something happening to him.
An illusion disc to make himself look like Fredbear, lured the crying child out of his bedroom and to the pizzeria, then killed him. This would explain why in FNAF 4 we only see Fredbear with a giant stomach mouth. So if the crying child
Okay, I guess that kind of makes sense. The problem is, I don't think the Funtime I don't think the Funtimes actually have illusion discs because well, people use like the ringing and the chip on his chest as evidence that he uses an illusion disc, but even if that is an illusion disc, he does look like that, so it's not actually being used. I guess you could say that it's an illusion disc. I just don't think it is, but I guess it could work with this. There's nothing that says it absolutely can't be, but the buzzing in that game that night, I don't think that can be the illusion disc. But this with the Fredbear stomach, that kind of makes sense. But there's also the fact that the Nightmare animatronics are they're real, like they're actual animatronics, or maybe plushies or something that use illusion discs. And I mean, you could say that it's the Funtimes using illusion discs. I doubt that though. But yeah, that's the thing. So because of that, like I'm having a brain fart right now. But yeah, I'm pretty sure those were made by William. The Nightmare illusion discs and stuff. And also, like I said, Funtime Freddy's feet don't match the footprints there. And even if he was using an illusion disc, it would still have the same impact on the ground, because that's not what he actually looks like. It's only from your eyes. It's only your brain that thinks that you're seeing it, in a different way. But you're actually seeing, what's actually happening in the world is what's actually happening. So his like footprint wouldn't be different just because he looks different to the eye, because he doesn't actually look like that.
At the hands of Funtime Freddy, why do we see him die again in FNAF 4? Well, in Sister Location, something that I think we overlooked at the time is that Afton was definitely trying to create robot humans. And in FNAF 6, we learned that he was experimenting with Remnant. I believe that after Crying Child died at the hands of Funtime Freddy, he successfully rebuilt him in the Sister Location bunker. After he rebuilt him, he started running tests on him and observing him, using the cameras found in Sister Location and the Fredbear plush. But, as we learned in the main novel trilogy, people who are rebuilt as robots still remember their past. So when we see the Crying Child again, he's more scared of Fredbear's family diner than ever, due to him remembering witnessing his own death. To hammer it home even more, in FNAF VR, there's a level called Night Terrors, which is basically FNAF 4. But this level doesn't include the animatronics we saw in FNAF 4. In FNAF VR, the first FNAF games have all of the same characters, but not this one. So who are the characters featured in Night Terrors? Well, you've got Nightmarion and Baby, who are both tied to robot kids in the novels, but then you have Funtime Freddy and Nightmare Fredbear, the killer and his disguise. One other thing I should mention is the heart monitor flatline at the end of FNAF 4. If the Crying Child really was a robot when he got bit, why would he have a heartbeat? In Pizzeria Simulator, we play as Michael Afton, the Crying Child's older brother. We know at this point that Michael is basically a walking zombie whose insides have been scooped out and replaced with Remnant and all of the Sister Location animatronics. The Sister Location animatronics then left his body, but he still lived. And if we really do play as Michael in FNAF 6, there's an Easter egg where you can sometimes hear his heart beating during the salvaging section.
No, you don't. That's Afton's heartbeat.
If Michael, the half-robot walking remnant zombie, can have a heartbeat, why can't the Crying Child even as a robot? I mean, in the books, the Charlie robot can bleed.
Okay, also, Remnant heals you. He still has his organs, because as we literally see in that minigame,
Michael,
let's go. Look, in this minigame, we see him fall, and as we see him fall, we see he falls in on himself, meaning Ennard was the only thing keeping him up, and when he left, that he was just a flop of skin and flesh. But then he stands up. How does he stand up if he has no bones or anything, nothing keeping him up? Then how does he stand up? Well, because Remnant heals you, and it regenerates his body. And also, he's probably not a corpse anymore because Remnant heals you. And because of that, he'll be able to stand, he'll be able to have his heart beating, but even if that was the case, which, like, yeah, he would still have his heart be able to beat, but he's not a rotting corpse anymore, he's just a human. And that heartbeat in FNAF 6 is also Afton, so that doesn't really say anything. He's literally just a regular human with a heart beating, even though that's Afton's. So the Crying Child being a robot doesn't make sense to have a heartbeat.
Robot walking remnant zombie can have a heartbeat, why can't the Crying Child even as a robot? I mean, in the books, the Charlie robot can bleed, she can breathe, she can cry, she can eat. Who says a robot can't have a heartbeat in this universe? From there, now there's just little stuff. Afton says in Midnight Motorist that the Crying Child ran off to that place again.
I guess he could have a heartbeat, but that's not good evidence, though.
Death, of course he probably went there all the time, but this time he wouldn't come back. You could even point to the Immortal and the Restless from Sister Location and connect that to the rebuilt Crying Child.
The baby isn't mine.
It's a metaphor for Afton's rebuilt, undead version of his younger son, not technically.
That's literally Michael. It's very clearly Michael.
Telling his son he's
that very clearly represents Michael.
Put him back together. An odd choice of words to tell a human kid on their deathbed. What if Scott decided to take that even more literally than we thought? Look at the Curse of Dreadbear, where you've got an animatronic that sounds similar to Fredbear, who is literally branded as a rebuilt Frankenstein-like animatronic. In an early Easter egg, you could even see him towering over the Afton house. I mean, look at the home screen for FNAF 4. You can literally see the Nightmare animatronics, who use illusion discs, hiding outside in the bushes. Why do the footprints by the bushes in Midnight Motorist have 3 toes? Well, we learn in Ultimate Custom Night that this is the official model of Fredbear. The Ultimate Guide also confirms this, along with the fact that all of these versions of Fredbear are the same. The model used for Fredbear in Ultimate Custom Knight is the same as classic Freddy, who has 3 toes. By the way, the Ultimate Guide also states that Fredbear was the first Springlock animatronic
Yeah, but
that
Funtime
Henry
Freddy
created,
doesn't.
and that Henry was known for wearing the Fredbear costume. Earlier on in the book, in the FNAF 2 section, it heavily insinuates that the location we see in the Save Him minigame in FNAF 2 is Fredbear's family diner. If Henry was working that night dressed as Fredbear in the Save Him minigame, his conversation with Charlie at the end of FNAF 6 could have been more literal than we thought.
I should have known you wouldn't be content to disappear. Not my daughter. I couldn't save you then, so let me save you now.
I couldn't save you then, so let me save you now. When trying to think of other potential problems with this theory, I couldn't help but think of the Happiest Day minigame from FNAF 3. This is said to be the minigame where the puppet finally frees the crying child's soul along with the other kids. Honestly, before looking into it, I thought this would ruin the theory. But is this really the crying child that we see in FNAF 4? Have we ever really stopped to think that this could be another kid, possibly Cassidy possessing Golden Freddy? Let's look at the evidence. In the Ultimate Guide, it never specifies who that child is in the
It's way
Happiest
more
Day
likely
minigame.
the bite
They just
victim.
call the kid a gray crying child. In the character encyclopedia, the pages for the puppet and for Charlie both never mention the crying child when talking about the Happiest Day. And possibly the biggest piece
Yeah, but
of
why
evidence
would
is
it
on the
confirm
crying
that?
child's page in the encyclopedia. He is not listed as appearing in FNAF 3. This book
That's one of the issues with the encyclopedia, though, because the bite victim does appear in both FNAF 3 and FNAF World, at the very least, because the bite victim is the one to put the pieces of Happiest Day together. That's confirmed in FNAF World. And if that's confirmed in FNAF World, then he has to be in FNAF 3 putting the pieces together, even if he isn't the spirit in Happiest Day. That's one of the issues with the character encyclopedia. Not proof that he's not the kid in Happiest Day. It's an issue with the character encyclopedia.
even has a whole page dedicated to the Shadow Puppet, who appears once in the entire franchise in the background of the FNAF 3 minigames. But one of the most important characters in this franchise, who's believed to be in FNAF 3 for 8 years now, is not listed. If you get the bad ending in FNAF 3, you see 5 animatronic heads all still lit, symbolizing that their spirits are still trapped. This includes Golden Freddy in the back. But when you get the good ending and all of their lights go out, the Golden Freddy heads don't. It's actually not even there anymore. This is confirmed in the Ultimate Guide. We learn from the character encyclopedia that Charlie, aka the puppet, decided not to move on after the Happiest Day because Afton was still out there and souls were still trapped.
But
I
she
believe
is
the soul
freed in
inhabiting
Happiest
Golden Freddy
Day.
in the Happiest Day chose to do the same. That's why we don't see Golden Freddy or the puppet in the good ending. We do learn in Ultimate Custom Night that the vengeful spirit refused to move on after FNAF 6 to keep Afton in purgatory.
He tried to release you. He tried to release us. But I'm not gonna let that happen. I will hold you here. I will keep you here. No matter how many times they burn us.
This would match up with not wanting to move on in the Happiest Day. So how does this fit into
But
the
he does want to move
The
on.
only way this could work is if the Funtime animatronics were around earlier than we thought.
Or she.
And I believe that to be the case. In Night 4 of Sister Location, Baby traps us inside a Springlock suit from her old pizzeria. But it seems to also be a Funtime style suit due to the faceplates on the front. So that must mean that the Funtime suits were around before the Springlock suits got decommissioned. The Ultimate Guide insinuates that Charlie was the first victim of William Afton, and I believe that to be the case. If my theory ends up being correct in any way, that would mean the crying child died the same night as Charlie. So what was Afton's motivation for creating the deadly Funtime animatronics before anyone's even dead? I have a suspicion that his wife's death might have played a role in this. Maybe he was so
I do agree
upset
with that.
he started drinking and became an abusive father and eventually a killer. But ultimately, I'll admit, it's impossible to figure out. He could have just been a killer to be a killer. Sometimes there is no reason. So if the crying child was
I think
real, where
I think
is
it being
he
his
now?
wife is
I know
likely.
I've changed my mind on this a lot, but I believe we see the crying child again as Gregory in Security Breach. When I make theory videos, I'm not trying to say I'm 100% correct. I just like theorizing and coming up with new perspectives on the story. Outside of my theory videos, I've never really subscribed to the idea that Gregory is or isn't a robot. But with the release of the character encyclopedia and the fact that the crying child and Gregory look similar with a band-aid on both of their left knees, it's starting to become hard to deny. As MatPat pointed out, the animatronic heads in Sister Location do look extremely similar to Gregory's face. I mean, the character
Not really.
encyclopedia blatantly implies that one of these 3 animatronic heads is alive. If the Immortal and the Restless really is about Crying Child, that would explain why that room from Sister Location appears in Security Breach. In Midnight Motorist, we see a drunk and abusive father come home from claiming his first victim in Charlotte Emily. While he was gone, though, an animatronic of his own creation captured and killed his own kid by pretending to be his favorite animatronic. Sometime later, possibly through seeing Charlie possess the puppet, he figures out he can revive the dead in the only way he knows how, by creating a rebuilt robot version of his own son. He begins to run tests on him, while keeping heavy surveillance on him at all times. Afton's oldest son then throws him into Fredbear's mouth.
I'd also like to add that the flatline implies the bite victim got to the hospital. How would they operate on him if he's a robot?
On his birthday, getting fatally bitten by the animatronic. But his father reassures him, saying, "You're broken. I will put you back together." In the interview Scott had with Dawko, he mentioned that he imagined FNAF as a trilogy, and then kept it going from there, expecting every game to be his last. When it came to FNAF 4, he said he wasn't satisfied with it because the story he told was too vague, so he made Sister Location.
More like the
believe he
fans
took the
weren't
vagueness
satisfied
from
of
FNAF
it.
4 and ran with it, creating a, quote from Scott, almost too sci-fi FNAF game. And this was my almost too sci-fi FNAF theory. I hope you enjoyed, and thanks for watching.
Alright, I think I've made my thoughts about this theory pretty clear throughout the video, but I do think it's a pretty interesting idea, but it's just almost definitely not correct though, for the reasons that I've said in this video. But let me know what you guys think about the theory in the comments down below. Do you agree with it? Do you find it interesting? Do you disagree with it? Let me know in the comments, and if you did enjoy this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you want to, and I'll see you all in the next video. I talk really fast. I'll see you all in the next video. Bye, guys!